Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
So we're going to get started. What time is it? 9:46. My name is Tanya Cantlow, and I'm the acting counsel to Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams. And we'd like to welcome you to Borough Hall for the Borough Service Cabinet meeting, December 11, 2018. So before we get started, I'm just going to take the roll call. CB1, CB2, CB3,
Here.
CB4, CB5, CB6, CB7, CB8, CB9, CB10, CB11, CB12, CB13, CB14, CB15, CB16, CB17, CB18. Okay, now for the agencies. 311, Administration of Children's Services, Brooklyn Public Library, Commission on Human Rights, Con Ed,
Here.
Department of Aging, Department of Buildings,
Here.
Department of City Planning, DCAS, Department of Consumer Affairs, Department of Corrections, Department of Developmental Disabilities, Department of Design and Construction, Department of Environmental Protection, Department of Finance, Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, Department of Homeless Services, Department of Housing Preservation and Development, Department of Information Technology and Telecommunications, Department of Parks and Recreation, Department of Probation, Department of Sanitation, Department of Transportation, Department of Youth and Community Development, Fire Department, Human Resources Administration, Link NYC, the Mayor's Office, National Grid, New York City Housing Authority, New York City Transit, Office of Management Budget, Office of Emergency Management, Police Department, Small Business Services, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, U.S. Postal Service, Verizon, and Spectrum. Okay. So before we get started with our presentations, this meeting will be fairly short. We did have 2 additional presentations, but they canceled, and I didn't want to cancel the meeting, so we should be done fairly quickly. So the first presentation is Citizen, and the presenters are Thomas Bosco, who's the Chief of Staff, and Dennis Mapp, who's the Community Manager.
Morning. How's everyone doing? Hi, can everyone hear me? Yes. Morning. So I'm Tom Bosco. I'm the Chief of Staff at Citizen. I'm here with my colleagues, Prince and Brooks, and we're going to talk to you a bit about what we're doing today. So we're going to tell you 3 things. 1, who we are and what we do. 2, what product we've built so that you and anyone that you know may be able to use. And 3, some real world stories of how our product has helped New Yorkers. So, do you want to give quick introductions?
Hi there, my name is Brooks Rocco. I am Citizen's Manager of Content.
And my name is Dennis Prince Mapp, and I am Citizen's Community Manager. So Citizen's mission is to protect the world. So we built first of its kind technology that gives you real, safe, and real-time alerts when there's an emergency or incident happening in your area. And let's be clear, it doesn't have to be an immediate area. It can happen somewhere else in New York City, and you can still get the alert as long as it's serious enough.
So quickly on who we are. We're a tech company backed by some venture capital firms, Sequoia and Founders Fund. We were started in 2015. We're currently operating in New York and the San Francisco Bay Area. Our primary market is New York, and we have hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers who are logging in weekly. On a daily basis, people in, over 100,000 people in Brooklyn will have the application and are using us on a regular basis. So we're pretty prevalent so far in New York City. We're going to start to talk to you about what our product actually does. So we're a free application. We're available on iTunes and Google Play for Apple fans or Android fans. And we care deeply about informing the public about safety and emergency incidents related to 3 specific areas. 1, where you are in the world. Everyone wants to know, like, based off of we're all in this room right now, what's happening around us. 2 is like where your neighborhoods, what neighborhoods you care about. So this could be your home neighborhood, it could be where you work, but you can follow certain neighborhoods. And 3 are your friends and family. We want to make sure that you can follow your loved ones and see what's happening around them wherever they may be in the city. So Brooks will walk you through what these features actually look like in our application.
So the Citizen app has a number of features designed to keep you, your loved ones, and your community safe and fully informed. First off, depending on your location and the severity of an incident, a safety alert is sent directly to your phone if you are close to one of these emergency events. Secondly, you are provided with a real-time safety map of the city and all of the incidents that are going on around you. Some people might have a spouse who works in a different borough or a child who goes to school in a different neighborhood. Citizen allows you to follow different communities and always stay aware of the incidents that impact the neighborhoods and communities that mean the most to you. And most importantly, our Inner Circle feature allows you to directly follow your friends, family, and your loved ones to always stay aware of the incidents that happen near them. So we're going to talk about some case studies in which this app has helped mitigate events or helped resolve episodes.
Hello again, everybody. So, Halloween 2017, we had a terror attack in Tribeca, and it was at 3:05. A man drives down a path and fatally injured several people. At 3:09, 4 minutes later, citizens sent the alert out to a quarter-of-a-mile radius. So 570 people were notified. So Abbie Brody, who was a principal in a school up in Chelsea, up here, was called by her husband because he received the email that there was a terror attack going on in New York City. So Abbie went to the news. She didn't see anything. She went to her school safety. They didn't hear anything. So Abbie decided to go to her phone and check her Citizen app. And when she checked the Citizen app, Abbie seen real-time alerts, play-by-play, actually what was actually happening in New York City. So Abbie is a principal of a school with over 600 students. So she had to make a call. She had to make a call whether to release the students, put them on a bus and send them back down towards Tribeca, or to keep the students safe. So she chose to keep the students safe. So this is what this is what she said. She said, I'm a principal of elementary school downtown New York, and my care every day is 600 students. At 3:10 that day, my husband got an email that nanny saw some shootings. I immediately called down our security team called the precinct near us, and no answers were given. It was that I checked Citizen, and there was minute-by-minute information on a terrorist attack. With the information from Citizen alone, I had enough information to make decisions to ensure the safety of our students. Principal Abbie Brody. These are real-time case studies, and she was able to save 600 lives because that day she was going to, if she didn't know, she would have sent 600 students on a bus in the area where a terrorist attack was going on.
So more recently, on October 16th of this year, a 4-year-old boy was separated from his mother early in the morning at the Brooklyn Junction subway station. Within 3 minutes of police calling their level 1 mobilization to find this boy, citizens sent a custom alert to 10,000 people within a 2-mile radius of the Broadway Junction station. Adding additional updates in the app, such as the boy's description, a citizen user spots the boy 6 miles away in the Lower East Side in Manhattan at their place of work. The citizen user called 911 and was able to bring the child to a local precinct. That user then went into the citizen app's incident chat room and told everybody what happened, saying that their coworker spotted the boy on a J train, so he brought him to Manhattan to the workplace for safekeeping. Turns out that wasn't entirely true. It was later discovered that seconds after the boy was separated at the subway station, not on the train, at the subway station, the boy is scooped up by this stranger and whisked off onto a Manhattan-bound train. This man made no attempt to alert police, to call 911, to bring the boy to a local precinct. He brought him to his place of work and stashed him. It was a coworker that happened to see the boy at this place of work and noticed that he matched the description at the Citizen app. The coworker called 911 and rescued the boy. It turns out that this man had 2 open warrants for aggravated assault and sex abuse of a child. We can't say what would have happened if Citizen user hadn't recognized this child, but what we can say is that information from the Citizen app provided crucial information for getting this child home safe and sound within just a few hours of having gone missing.
And very quickly, the last one here. So this happened in September at 4 in the morning when most people are sound asleep, safe in their homes. There was a fire in a Washington Heights, Manhattan apartment building. A citizen user received an alert. This user, Dan, got up and he started knocking on his neighbors' doors, making sure they were safe, protecting them, getting them out of the building. Not to go through every detail here, there were no victims at the scene, and Dan tweeted later in the day that the only reason he knew and was able to save his neighbors is that he got an alert from the citizen team through the application and was able to impact his local community in a better way. So you can see these 3 case studies of different types, that the information to give community members the ability to act in different situations allowed them to make decisions on a day-to-day basis, informed decisions that helped out people, friends, and loved ones. So that's a quick story on us, like why are we here, and what can we do to work together. There's 3 things that we, potentially ways we can work. 1, you could try it for yourself. Prove it, download the application, it's free, it's easy to use, follow your friends, your family, and your neighbors. 2, you can share the application with colleagues, constituents, and loved ones. And 3, if you ever want to get in touch with any of us, like we're happy to talk about more formal engagements. Those usually come in one of 2 different ways. So Prince spends a lot of his time going to community boards, doing trainings, showing people how to use the application. We're happy to do something like that. We also partner with select institutions to do product development and feedback. We're young, the app isn't perfect, and we're trying to figure out what next to build, what will keep New Yorkers safe and what will keep people safe beyond that. So an example of this is we've partnered with some hospitals here in New York to do targeted medical alerts because they want more information about different medical injuries beforehand as they get injuries in their area. So if there's any way that your community boards or institutions may want to talk about what those can look like, our emails are here. We are happy to talk and appreciate you taking the time today. So good morning, and if anyone has any questions, we're happy to answer those.
Actually, I have a few.
Yep.
So what is your rate of accuracy?
Yep. Can you define like what you mean by
Well,
accuracy?
so how do you get the information? Is it from like sort of real-time residents? Like, like I have the Waze app.
Yes.
And it'll tell you there's a pothole or something, but someone's calling that information in or giving them that information. How do you get the information?
Great question. So we currently get our information through public data sources. So in New York, most scanner information is public. So we have an operations team that are trained journalists and former like people who have done emergency response in their past that are listening and helping post the incidents responsibly as they occur. So an example of this would be they would, one of the things I think that is potentially the most frightening is that we post wrong information. These people are trained on how do you actually post things responsibly. So if the event says unconfirmed, we're going to write in the app unconfirmed. If the event is eventually resolved, we'll update the description in the app to say resolved. We have people, the newsworthiness, so we have to be very responsible with this information because these are people's lives. As we always say at the office, this is like someone's worst day, and we need to like present that information accurately and with a lot of care. So we do a lot of training and whatnot for them.
And are you expanding outside of New York City? Or are you just in New York City?
So we're in New York and we're in the San Francisco Bay Area.
New York State?
New York City.
Okay.
New York City.
Okay.
So we are starting to look at 2019. We'll probably have a much larger national presence is what we're trying to do next year. So right now our two major markets are New York and San Francisco, but hopefully we expand and help other communities shortly.
Any other questions? Oh,
I was watching the news the other night, and I saw that one of the videos about a fire was actually broadcast, and it said citizens.
Yep.
So do you sell the information to the media as well, or is it something they can, or maybe they're already
We
buying?
give it for free right now. So currently I'm on the email list. I get a bunch of emails from news stations across New York every time. They're like, can we use this video for our evening news? And we share that information today with them for no charge. We just want to make sure that they can use it and get the word out.
Hi, good morning.
can you, use the mic, please, thank you.
Personally, I like the app, and my mom actually likes it even more than I do. She tells me a lot about the alerts that she's receiving, and we're, sort of in the same area, but sometimes mine don't pop up. So I'm wondering, daily, am I supposed to tap on the app to make sure that it's activated? Because there are a lot of things that I see after I tap on the app, but it's just not prompting just naturally when
So
the phone is on.
Another great question. So there's two things. There's a configuration bit and then there's a notification bit. So on the configuration bit, the app requires to get all notifications that your location be set to always on and your notifications to be set on, because we don't want you in an emergency situation to have to check something. We want to push that information to you. So to get those notifications, you need those two things turned on. In terms of our notification model, we will only notify based on the severity and on your location to an incident. So say gas odor. I'm 5 miles away from a gas odor incident. I don't really care. It's not going to impact my safety or my home, so we won't send that notification. But we may send that to a very small local block radius that notifies those things. So as the incidents escalate in severity, we change the radius for notification. So in the case of the missing boy, there's been many missing people in New York that we've notified on. We usually send out citywide notifications so everyone could be on the lookout if they've seen this person. But for smaller, more localized incidents, we'll send out just very small notifications just to the people that may impact that.
Just one small question about
Yep.
the sound.
Yeah.
Is that something that can be modified, or does everybody get that very dirge sounding?
Yes. This has come up a lot. I think that one of the things that we are consistently thinking about right now as the product develops is kind of the tone and sounds in the application. So I don't have timelines for when modifications or whatnot, but it's something that we're working on and thinking through what would be best for a variety of users.
So can I ask something? Yeah. So I just wanted to speak about inner circle. So I work in Tribeca, and my daughter, she works in Far Rockaway. And I add my daughter to my inner circle. And it's very important that I add it to the inner circle because if something is happening in the area where she's at, I get the notification and she may not know, you know what I mean? So I add my loved ones to my inner circle, and I also follow places in New York City where I know that my loved ones work, like where my mom goes for her therapy and stuff like that, just so I can get alerts when something is happening in the immediate area as well. So you have to keep your notifications on, but it's good that you add all your loved ones and your family and friends in your inner circle, so even if they're not alerted, you can be alerted and alert them as well.
Is there a setting on the app? I have the app. Never mind, she's showing me. I want to say that I've been using your app for some time. It's helped me as a district manager. I appreciate you adding unconfirmed.
Thank you.
We often are the first stop for residents when an incident happens in the district and they want to know what's happening. We have a very big digital divide in Board 10, so it does help to get that information, and oftentimes we actually have it before our precinct calls us. So, you know, I always say good information is important to us. We never want to disseminate bad information. So I do appreciate that you've added the unconfirmed. And I'll look into that circle. I didn't know that before today. Okay, great. Thank you.
And does the app, does it work underground? So like if you're on the train and there's an incident, would you be alerted?
You need to have Wi-Fi or service. We can't push something to you if you are out of a service zone. Whoever invents that, like, that'll be a great safety feature, but we have not been there.
So how many of you have Citizens app? Who's here? Any other questions for them? Oh.
So what data does Citizen collect from the people that are signing up, and how is that managed?
Yeah, so we collect the data from users that is relevant to the application. So when you sign up, you give some level of personal information around email and phone number. And then we obviously have location data because we're sending location alerts. Currently, I don't, in terms of how that's managed, we do not share data with any external parties right now. We actually don't make any money. We're doing this right now without a revenue model. So it's something in which we do not have any partnerships. We're not giving that data away.
Thank you. And how large is your team?
So I think our total headcount is 62-ish people between a mix of full-time employees and contractors.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we have Terrence Kelly, who is from Con Ed, the Manager, Corporate Affairs, Government, Regional, and Community Affairs.
All right. Morning. Take a stop. Take a shot at doing this out here. All right. So many of you may know me already. This morning, my name is Terrence Kelly. I work in corporate affairs with Con Edison in the Brooklyn office. Many of you have seen this presentation in some way, shape, or form, maybe in this room itself. We're just here to reinforce some messaging around what is one of the biggest energy infrastructure projects in the history of our company and in New York City, which is smart meters. So here we are. We're going to talk about smart meters, what are the benefits, when you'll get them, and how you'll be notified. We think this is very important from both a public safety perspective and a logistical perspective, and we want to get the word out throughout every means and lines of communication as possible. We think that district managers are an excellent start, and we want to make sure that we're reinforcing the message as we go along. So, for anyone who is not familiar with this, this entire program is called Advanced Metering Infrastructure, AMI, also known as Smart Meter. Now, what this means is that it's a digital device about the size of a smoke detector that is going to replace the analog meter that is currently installed in every single residence and business in New York City and Westchester in the service territories. We're currently moving at a fast clip in Brooklyn, and these digital meters, what they do is they provide almost real-time readings of the energy consumption in the household or business. So what happens is it works similar in effect to a Wi-Fi network, where a communication between the device and our equipment located throughout the neighborhood, and then also in in Con Edison buildings, they're communicating with each other every 15 minutes. Your smart meter, well, instead of getting a read maybe once a month from an estimated meter read or from an actual count from a meter reader coming to your residence or business, now packets of information will be sent every 15 minutes, encrypted across this network, and it will provide one of the more robust energy profiles you could ever imagine. Now, we're talking about the benefits. The bottom line is that this is an excellent way to control cost. If Verizon and the banks, are able to send you data alerts about they're able to send you text message alerts about your data consumption and hitting that 90% mark, then so should we. And we are excited to provide and lay out this excellent technology and bring it up to the 21st century and the industry standard. We're here to make sure that there's no more waiting. This makes it infinitely easier for us to manage the logistics of turning people on and off. The estimated time of restoration during outages is expected to be reduced in significantly less time to turn people back on after an emergency outage, which is an excellent thing that we've already seen great results on Staten Island so far. Like I said, HiBill Alerts, great way to have that happen. Easier activation. We have a Leave On for Landlord program that's just being piloted as well, so you don't have to liaise with one of our meter readers or meter operations team to schedule an appointment, and this is way more convenient. Greener choices and solar. No better way to take a realistic look at your household's energy consumption and financial decision making than with the information we provide for the smart meter. You can take a look and see what your real use is, what you can invest in for the future, and what subsidies and opportunities there are to upgrade your appliances to become more energy efficient in the long term, be them solar or otherwise. When and how? So as mentioned, we already started in Staten Island, we've already started in Westchester, and in Brooklyn we started in late April. As of now, we're expected by year end to hit about 180,000 meter installations out of a rough 1 million in Brooklyn. That includes all new business as well. So we're moving at a very, very fast clip, and what we're doing is we're moving from east to west, from the south and the less dense neighborhoods up through the more dense neighborhoods. Many people who have, I think Eddie saw the road show last week at the Coney Island General Public Meeting, just to reinforce we're right in the middle of CB13, and we're hoping to continue moving along at this rapid clip. So the entire thing is happening with the use of trusted contractors. They'll be out in the force from Monday to Saturday. What does it say? It says 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So these contractors are scheduling, and they're moving on the meter reader routes. So it's a bit of organized chaos. If you look at the map, you wonder why it doesn't look so, lovely and geographic and sane. But it actually is the most efficient way that we can operate the project. And the program has made sure that you do not need to be home when this happens. What happens is, obviously, if the meter is on the outside of the house, someone can come up, one of our contractors, who's the trusted contractor, can come up, do the replacement in 10 to 15 minutes. If you're like me, you live in a two-family, I have my meters in the basement. Unfortunately, I can't, I'm going to have to schedule an appointment. But the good news is that the contractors are trained to be able to leave door hangers and to make sure that people know that there's an easy way to reschedule at your own convenience. The whole thing should take, there's a small minimal outage simply to reset the meter and to test it and to make sure that there's quality control, to make sure that everything is the same as it was. And that's another thing about this, is that this is simply the industry standard across the country. We're bringing everyone into the 21st century. This is going to look exactly the same as it did before, except allowing for us to provide a better service and to provide much more information to the customer than is standard right now. The contractors, from a public safety perspective, we've been talking to Brooklyn North, Brooklyn South, and then we've been also trying to hit as many community council meetings of the precincts as possible as well to let them know about these contractors. They'll have Con Ed branded vests in Con Ed branded vehicles. They'll have contractor IDs that look very similar to the ones that we have. We're also training contractors to appreciate people's concerns about public safety and privacy. So if someone asks to see their employee ID, please oblige. Please allow them to call it into 1-800-75-CON-ED if they feel uncomfortable. And please feel free to reschedule at your convenience as well. While we definitely emphasize the convenience of the 10 to 15 minute window, especially if you have your meters on the outside of the house, This is also really important for us to, to communicate and let people know that this is a two-way street. This line of communication really is dependent on us getting out in front of people in the neighborhoods that our contractors are going to be in. Another big thing from a public safety perspective and from a consumer affairs perspective is that this comes at no upfront cost to the customer. We've been hearing from our corporate security team and from NYPD is that in certain areas, especially with immigrant populations and small businesses especially, that people are scamming. And scamming always follows the newest trend, right? So the newest technology, you're always going to have people trying to take advantage of people, especially walking up to a small business owner saying, from Con Ed, if you don't give me $700 in cash right now, I'm going to turn you off. You want this smart meter, you have to pay for it. And so we're seeing that, and we want to make sure that people understand the true nature of the program, and that there is no cost, and that if they have any concerns whatsoever, obviously if it's an emergency, call the police, 911, but also feel free to call it into 1-800-75-CON-ED, because this is not just a consumer protection based on smart meters. We all know that there's always a lot of, possibly, unscrupulous energy service companies that are going door to door asking to see your Con Ed bill too. So we want to make sure that people understand we're fully invested in this program. We want people to feel safe and make sure that they have all the information they need. So please, if you're not sure, call it in. And how will you be notified? We're sending out 90-day postcards. We're sending out 45-day postcards. And if you're not home at the day of the installation scheduled, we'll put a door hanger on the door with the contractor's name and contact information so that you can call back at your convenience and schedule for a time that you or someone who's a responsible party can be home. Now, these postcards are going out in neighborhoods. Right now, we're still in Coney Island, Sheepshead Bay, Gravesend, Bath Beach. We're moving up into Flatbush pretty soon, but then it is sort of, like I said, it's a rich tapestry of chaos if you look at it on a map, but it's moving extremely fast. As mentioned, by the end of the year, we'll already have more installations than all of Staten Island. So one of the best things about the communications is that what you're going to start to see is that, again, this takes time to really, the more you feed, the more you feed the program, the more you get out of it. So the more data that comes in, the more individualized your energy report becomes. You get those HiBill alerts. You get to see really exactly where the pressure points on your own energy consumption are. As someone who's dealt with estimated meter reads over time, it's frustrating to not have a real sense of where you can contribute to lowering your bill. And I think that this is a really exciting opportunity that everyone on the company side also is reinforcing the benefits of, because it's a win-win. We want people to know exactly what they're using, and we want to make sure that we are giving the best customer experience possible. So if you have any questions, or if there's any further information, or if you want us to share through your social media, through our social media, it's available on all our assets, our digital assets. Our app is also a wonderful tool that the more smart meters become integrated into the company, the more information is going to become more valuable. So again, if you have any questions, we're always happy to get it at coned.com/smartmeters. Also on social, 1-800-75-CON-ED for those who are not digitally native, and we have our contact information as well. So in addition to that, I just wanted to very quickly mention that we also have a robust profile of or robust program of energy efficiency initiatives that are happening across the borough, available to everyone at different subsidized rates, but especially available to neighborhoods in North and Central East Brooklyn who are part of the Brooklyn Queens Demand Management Program. I'm happy to talk about those, and I have information, collateral available to let you know about that from a individual residential standpoint, from a multifamily building standpoint, from a commercial direct installation standpoint, and from an industrial commercial use standpoint. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them now. Yes.
Thank you. I'd just like to ask if Con Edison could notify the community boards in advance of the smart meters coming to our respective districts. In addition to the scammers that look for money, we have a very big senior population, and as we did with Local Law 30 with National Grid, in advance of contractors coming to the district, we were able to disseminate that information and be prepared as, especially seniors. We do have a lot of people who pose as Con Edison and utility workers trying to gain access, so inevitably we get phone calls at the district office. So if we know in advance, it would be helpful. We could also blast it out to our residents on our newsletter and other notification lists that we have. So I would just ask that you do that for us.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be certainly hearing from us when we get close to the day. Usually when I see the 90-day postcards go out, that's when it starts to hit us where we have to start, we want to start reaching out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So I had a question. How is the HiBill Alert, how is that disseminated? Is it like a text message or how do you get the alert? Is it via email?
So there's a couple different ways it can be disseminated. Email, push notification, or text message. Those are all three that I've seen in terms of the availability. And it's about what options you prefer, and it's baked into your account settings that you can access at coned.com or through the app itself. And as these, as mentioned, as the information becomes more robust and the profile becomes much more useful, the information is going to really, I think, help shape the way that people use energy in their own homes. All right, thank you very much.
Sure. Okay, thank you, Terrence. Okay, so we don't have any other presentations. As I said earlier, we did have 2 additional presentations that were canceled. And there is no old business and no new business. The next full-service cabinet meeting is Tuesday, February 12th, 2019. And I do have a few Borough Hall announcements. So on January 3rd, there will be a healthy cooking demo, if you're interested. Also, there's a free tax prep beginning in late January. There's a notice of property value February 7th and February 26th. And also on February 12th from 6 to 8 p.m., there will be a summer resource fair for schools. It will be an event with tables from summer camps and other summer programs around the borough, and it will be at Borough Hall. Any other questions, comments? Sure.
Just curious as to follow up with Noel Hidalgo and the Beta NYC project. Has anybody heard from him?
I have not.
Because I thought that we were going to follow up at the December meeting so that we can get that project going, because we have our expenditures to make. We're running up against the deadline on that.
Right, okay. Well, actually, it wouldn't have been at this meeting, because this is a full-service cabinet meeting. It would have been a January meeting. I will follow up. I haven't heard anything from him.
I emailed Noel. I haven't heard back from him.
Should we be?
Uh-huh.
I just want to say that, and, seasoned district managers, we're halfway through the fiscal year. I'm either giving this money back to general funds, or I'm probably at this point spending it on something else, which is unfortunate, because I thought we had some momentum that fits and starts. But I can't be waiting. I just can't be waiting. I don't even. No, we don't have a spec. We don't have a price. And either I say thank you for coming over here, but no thank you, or I say what's plan B or C or D.
I think Knowles' projection was for a December, January, mid-December. So we really should follow up. I mean, I would, if we're progressive, we've waited so long, hopefully it will come through. So I'm not going to give up yet, Rob. Okay.
I'm happy to send him out an email and try to, and then correspond with everybody, with all my colleagues.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead, Harry.
Well, no updates. We got some agencies here. They don't have any updates. Some of the agency reps.
Any agencies? Do you have any updates?
So National Grid
You could use your,
Sure, we can.
is it on?
Thank you. So first of all, I just want to say happy holidays to everyone in preparation for the holidays and happy new year. Just wanted to share one of the things I heard Con talk about the Leave It for Landlord program. I know we had sent it out, but just as a reminder, what we're finding is that when and particular businesses have, if you have a building, apartment building, or a building that you have tenants in, and initially the landlord is responsible for the cost of the utility. However, when a tenant comes in, the tenant takes over that responsibility. When the tenant leaves, if there's an outstanding bill or if there's a tenant moving right behind that and National Grid does not know about it, we will cut that service. So the idea is that there is a program called Leave It for Landlords. So when a tenant leaves, the name of the building, that particular apartment, will automatically go back to the landlord, and they will be responsible for that bill or any type of activity in that apartment until the new tenant moves in or that business. So that's how our landlord for Leave It program works. So I would encourage you, so if we don't want a building to not have our apartment not to have gas, because if we go in and if there's an issue with that building, we're going to shut the whole building down. So the idea is to keep the gas flowing. Of course, if there's an issue and we find it, we're going to turn it off anyway. But just something to think about. That's one of the programs. Some of the other programs we can bring back, you know about Local Law 30. We're still pushing through Local Law 30. We still have a lot more to go. I know we're trying to really wrap that down. I think the last count was about 16,000 that we still have left, and that's not only primarily in Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. So that's still going on. We do also have some energy efficiency programs that we can share, and we'll continue to push that out. And finally, we have economic development programs that are taking place. The other thing I wanted to mention is that on December 14th, National Grid will be opening up our first ever sustainability hub right down in the Metro Tech area. So if you're interested in bringing students down there to learn about energy efficiency, about safety, we're actually going to have it right down there in Metro Tech. It's a sustainability hub that's for the purpose of sharing and showing information about energy efficiencies and safety.
Good morning, everyone. Sharice Lawrence, Department for the Aging. I have seen most of the district managers, but for those I won't see this month, we have a change at the Department for the Aging. Former Commissioner Donna Corrado has moved on, and Karen Resnick, who has been Deputy Commissioner of External Affairs, is now the acting commissioner. So I just wanted to put that information out, and of course I'll keep you all abreast of whether she'll be appointed or someone else will be appointed. But for now, Karen Resnick is our acting commissioner, and Donna Corrado is no longer with us.
Hello, good morning, Sandra Sanchez, FDNY Community Affairs. 'Tis the season to be fire safe. Unfortunately, we did have a fatal fire this past weekend, actually in Community Ward 4, and while the marshals are still investigating as to the cause of the fire, what we do know, what all our research and our data does show, is that during the cold winter months, our fire deaths and incidents take a spike up. So we will be sharing, we have already shared, now that Hanukkah is over, we did share with our different community boards that had a large Jewish constituency, but now we'll also be sharing holiday cooking safety tips to keep your constituents, to keep Brooklyn and all of New York safe. So please be on the lookout for that email as we will circulate it later this week.
Thanks, everyone. Brian Pargnoli, New York City Emergency Management. I want to echo my colleagues at the fire department related to safety during the winter weather months. in addition to those cooking safety tips and the cognizance of electrical fires with decorations and anything like that, I just want to make sure everyone updates their household disaster plan, make sure everybody knows where to go in the event of a disaster, and has 2 emergency contacts, one inside the city, one outside the city. That way, if the phone lines get jammed up, you can contact your person outside of the city. And you should all weatherize your go bags, include any warm weather or warm clothing that you may need if you're forced to leave your apartment or home for an extended period of time. Additionally, New York City Emergency Management has paired up with New York Cares to bring a PSA to bring awareness to winter weather concerns. We've donated about 300 or so coats to needy families to help prepare for winter weather, and we have a PSA featuring the commissioner and the director of New York Cares that's playing on local radio and is available on YouTube. And we would also like to encourage all New Yorkers to sign up for Notify NYC. You can download our app. It'll track you anonymously throughout the city and push you emergency alerts based on your location. And as we're approaching the new year, if you'd like any preparedness presentations for schools, senior centers, civic groups, you know, any sort of group, we're always more than willing to come out. We do about 1,000 presentations a year. I want to make it 1,001 next year. So if you have any places you'd like us to be, please reach out to intergov@oem.nyc.gov. Thank you.
Hi, I just want to express my appreciation. I hope you'll take it back for OEM's participation in our district service cabinet meetings. It's definitely been value added, so thanks for making that change in your staff's schedules.
Great, thank you. We love coming out, so hopefully we'll see you more next year.
Hello, everyone. My name is Denise Palm. I'm representing New York City Parks and Recreation. With the holiday season coming up, I just wanted to let you guys know that once you're done with your Christmas trees, to make sure you drop it off to your mulching locations. I have posters, so I'll put it at the front. Mulch Fest is from January 4th to January 13th. And we have designated areas for everyone to drop off their trees so that they can be mulched, and you can also get a free bag of mulch.
Anyone else? Any other agencies? So, okay, so we're going to conclude the meeting. If the district managers, if you can just hold tight once everyone leaves. Can you?
Mike.
Use the mic.
Hi. I know you guys are doing the organics, and you said that there was a 1-year grace period before you start enforcing. Is that going to happen in the new year or not? Okay.
Probably not. Probably not, because not everyone has it. So until everybody has it, then we can actually enforce. Okay? Because then it's not fair if someone in Staten Island gets a ticket, and then parts of Brooklyn don't get a ticket. So not yet. No tickets. Okay?
Okay, thank you.